Story time. This story I'm about to tell you was definitely a true story because I'm not going to get on here and cap and make no story up. But this story happened around about 97, 98, somewhere around there. No, matter of fact, it happened around the ending of 2000, like around October, November of 2000. Yeah. So anyway, so I met this female and she had 3 kids. I'm not gonna say her name. I'm not gonna say the kid's name, but I met this female and she had 3 kids, and eventually we started as friends and developed into a relationship. So I started making rounds with her, meeting her family and stuff, and so forth and so forth. So one particular day, I had my daughter at that time was like around 7 years old. She was like around 7 years old. So I had my daughter, and she had her 3 kids, right? So we decided to go to one of her cousin's houses. So we gathered up, got the kids together, got in the car, and we went over to her cousin's house. So when I got over there, I met her cousin. Well, I already knew who her cousin was. I met her once or twice, but we just went over there just to chill, cook some food, let the kids play around, talk shit, with just some friendly shit. So when I got over there, I met her brother for the first time, and he had just came home from prison. He was probably only home a couple of months, from what I understand. So me and him chopped it up a little bit and stuff, and we just was talking, and I told him that I might be able to help him get a job because he didn't have no employment at the time. I'm from New York City, so I was working for housing, and we just chopped it up, just talk. He told me, I told him I've been locked up, and I've been through some shit and yada yada yada. Just talk, and so anyway, I had went back into the other living room where everybody else was gathering with the kids and family, and just chilled with them. So the whole time I was there, he stayed in his room. He never came out of his room. That shit was kind of weird, but it didn't hit me until later on when I found out why he was staying in his room so much. So anyway, so the kids running around playing and so forth, so forth. So I had that's at the time I was drinking beer. At the time, I don't drink beer no more. I haven't drunk beer in like 5-6 years, or drank at all. So at that time, I asked him, "Yo, you want to take a walk? We go get some beers or something?" He was like, "Sure, I'll take a walk with you." So we went out. He got dressed, went out, and we took a walk. Went up the block to the store. So as we was coming back from the store, some guy, obviously he was hearing impaired because the way he was talking, so, and I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I kind of understood what he was saying. But he was asking him where was his grandmother. So obviously the deaf mute kid was looking for his grandmother. So what I understand is he was the grandmother's boyfriend. So I didn't pay no mind. So we walked off. He said he didn't know where she was, and we walked off and we went back upstairs and we just was chilling. He went right back in his room. So I go in the living room. So the girl that I was dealing with, she was like, well, she said, I'm not gonna say the guy's name. So she said, oh well, my cousin wants to take the kids next door to play video games. So I was like, okay, no problem. You know what I'm saying? They can go next door and play video games. Cool. So, because I like to know where my daughter's at, because she's only 7 years old. So I had to keep an eye on her. So they all went over to went over there. Her kids went over there. My kid went over there. Her kids went over there. And her cousin's kids went over there. So it was a whole bunch of kids over there. They all went next door to play video games with the guy cousin, the one that I went to the store with. So that went on for like about an hour and a half. So finally, the kids came back over. So no more than like a half an hour later, the police knock on the door. So, everybody like got up and went to the door. Was like, why the police knocking on the door for? So he there was detectives. It wasn't just regular police. It was like detectives. So they knocked on the door and they was asking for him. So his sister, she was like, well, what y'all want my brother for? And they was like, well, do you know a Mrs. Such and such? And she was like, yeah, that's my next door neighbor. So, and she was like, well, is your brother such and such her boyfriend? Do they live together? And she was like, yeah, he goes, that's his girlfriend. So this was an older woman. This was like a real grandma. This wasn't like the woman. She had to be, the woman had to be like, from what I understand, she was like in her like late 70s, pushing 80s. So she was an older woman. And at that time, he only was like in his 30s. So you could see the age difference already. So they were like, well, can we speak? Is he there? Can we speak to him? So that alone, like they said they were looking for her. So that shit made me like really like nervous. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like we were all like, so she called her brother to the door and she was already upset because it already didn't look right. Like, why would they be knocking on my door wanting to talk to her brother about his missing girlfriend? So the brother came to the door and the detective's like, well, can we have a talk with you? So he stepped out into the hallway and, she closed the door. No, she went out in the hallway with them while they was talking to him. So long story short, they ended up taking him downtown. So downtown meaning that taking him back to the precinct. In New York, whenever the police take you to the precinct, we call it going downtown. We go taking you downtown. That's how us New Yorkers describe when the police take you to the precinct. We call that taking you downtown or taking you to the precinct. So I was like, that just from that only, just the way that whole situation was, I told the chick, I was like, listen, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Get the kids together. Let's go. We out of here. So we got in the car. Boom, boom. We broke out. But I remember that when we and him was talking, I had gave him my cell phone number because I really was going to try to help him get a job. So remember that part, okay? Because it's going to come back up later. So I told her, like, yo, let's go. Let's get out of here. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? This whole situation just made me feel really uncomfortable. So we got dressed. We got the kids together and we jumped in the car and we get out of there. We went home, went to my crib because at the time I had my own crib. Well, I still got my own crib, but I was living in New York, so I had another crib. So we get back to the house, so we chilling. So now that shit is all on my mind. I'm like, what is going on? Why are they looking for this lady? And what does he got to do with it? And everything was just bugging me out. So anyway, she gets a phone call from the cousin. The cousin told her he got charged with I guess it was manslaughter. It wasn't murder. It was manslaughter. I believe it was manslaughter. He got charged with manslaughter. He confessed to accidentally killing her. the boy confessed to accidentally killing the lady. So that shit was like fucked up. Because so then I was like, so he killed her, but where was she? I asked the girl that I was dealing with because the cousin told her everything. This guy accidentally killed her. I guess he pushed her or something like that hard. They were arguing or whatever, and he got physical with her, and he pushed her, and she fell down and hit her head, and she died. This guy took her body, and he put her inside the closet, one of the closets inside the apartment. He just put her body in there. So when I went back mentally and went over the whole situation, now I understand why he was in the room. That shit was probably eating his conscience. And why the boy outside, the deaf boy, came up to rushing up to him, because when he was asking him where his grandmother was, he seemed kind of angry when he was asking him that. Because I've been around deaf people, so I know, when a person is angry. And when he was asking him where his grandmother was, he seemed kind of angry, and he was looking at him in a way like, where's my grandmother? So everything started coming to me later on. So he killed the woman, he took her body, he put it in the closet. I guess it was eating at his conscience. So all this happened probably prior to us coming over there, but we just happened to come over there at the time when I guess this whole situation happened. So we didn't know anything about nothing. Not even the sister, because he was in the room the whole time. So I guess he didn't know what to do. It probably was on his conscience. So anyway, he got charged with that, with manslaughter or something like that, or whatever. I don't know how those charges go, but he accidentally killed her. He didn't just like deliberately just kill her. He pushed her or something, got physical with her. She fell, she hit her head and died. So whatever that charge was, anyway. So when I started putting the pieces together, what happened was, when he asked the kids to go over there to play video games, those kids was inside, that my daughter, along with her daughter, her kids, and the cousin's kids, they all was playing in that house while this lady's body was in the closet. It had to be, because all this happened before we got there. So when he asked them to come over there, I think he was trying to have an alibi. As long as people were around, how could we possibly have done that? You know what I'm saying? So he had the kids go over there and play video games. Why there was a body in the closet, knowing what he did to this lady. So that phone call she got from the cousin was letting her know he confessed what happened, and they charged him. So about a half an hour later, the phone rings again. We had a landline phone, so the phone rings again. We had an apartment phone in the house. The phone rings again. So she picked up the phone. She's to see who it was, and she's like, Hassan, because that's my name, Hassan. She's like, Hassan, the detective want to talk to you. So I'm like, the detective? What did the detective want to talk to me about? So she was like, well, he says he just want to ask you a few questions. So I was like telling her, like, I don't know nothing. I don't have any questions. So he told her, well, he could either answer my question over the phone, or we could come get him and bring him downtown, and he can answer the question. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? What this nigga try to say I was down with this shit? Fuck going on? So I get on the phone. The detective asked me, what was he doing? Why did I give her my number? Like, why did he have my phone number in his pocket? Because remember, I gave him my phone on a piece of paper. He put it in his pocket. So the detective wanted to know, why he had my phone number in his pocket. So I told him, I says, well, I was going to help him get a job because he just came home from prison and I wanted to help him get a job. So I gave him my phone number so he can get in touch with me. And he was like, okay, I just wanted to confirm that because that's the same thing he said. He says, okay, everything is good. Have a good day. And I hung up the phone. And that was the end of that. So he ended up getting like 15, 20 years. So remind you, this happened in like the end of 2000, like September, October. So he's been home way since then. But the thing about that is the way he went about doing this whole thing. Like if it was an accident, you could have just, called the ambulance and said what happened, and you could have still took the time, But at least you just take her body and just throw it in the closet. May that woman rest in peace. I never knew the woman, like I didn't even. But long story short, the reason why he did it, also end up finding that out way later. He was smoking crack. He was strung out on crack, and she had just got her Social Security check, and he wanted some money from her so he could go buy him some crack, and she wasn't trying to give him no money. So he tried to get physical with her and ended up hurting her to the point where she died. And he took the money and went and got cracked up with it. So that's the reason why he was in the room, because he was fucking paranoid. Literally paranoid. That shit hurt me to my heart. And this is the first time I'm ever telling this story, period. And it's been way over 25 years. And this is the first time I'm telling this story. And this is some real shit. So the lesson I learned from that is sometimes you really got to be careful who you're around and what type of people you're dealing with. So with that being said, have a nice day. Make it make sense.